Right, yeah, this is a request from Braden. This is actually right up my street, especially the biblical prophecies. But secret societies, I kind of know of secret societies anyway, but definitely recently the Bible I've been listening to, and I mean obviously Revelations, but also I mean there's some very obvious lineups with how the world is today to what Revelation says, but also Revelations is very hard. There's parts that are very hard to understand. Like it's a complicated book, Revelations. But I've recently started listening. Well, I'm listening to all the books of the Bible really, but Isaiah. I wonder if Isaiah comes up in this, the book of Isaiah. He has a revelation in that, and it crazily lines up with how people are today. It's like eerie how much Isaiah's revelation is us. But yeah, um, I I hope because this may all be based off of Revelations, which yeah, it could be, but there is prophecy all the way through the Bible. But yeah, let's go.
The limits of debate in this country are established before the debate even begins, and everyone else is marginalized. They're made to seem either to be communists or some sort of disloyal person, a kook, there's a word, and now it's conspiracy. See, they've made that something that should not be even entertained for a minute, that powerful people might get together and have a plan. Doesn't happen. You're a kook. You're a conspiracy buff.
Is that George Carlin? Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed. Yeah. Like, didn't Jesus say as well, wickedness in high places? Um, that's what he's there to expose, basically.
A short introduction. I grew up leading a wonderful life. A fan of action and academics, I was an honors high school graduate with the highest mark in history award at 92%. I earned a double major in history while pursuing my education and arts degrees in 2 universities. Professors asked me to publish some of my essays. The future was looking bright until I realized that it's not what you know and how you can explain it, but rather who you know that counts. I watched my friends get married, buy houses, and start families, while I wondered how I was going to move out of my parents' house. I went back to school to study advanced woodworking and restart my career. It would take me a decade to realize that God had other plans for me. In June 2005, I had an awakening. While reading Matthew 24, I received the impression that what was being discussed in that passage could only be applied to events in our time. I searched Matthew 24 online to get other interpretations. One of those commentaries mentioned the word conspiracy. I was curious. I was instantly flooded with more than I could bear. For 4 sleepless days, I tried to disprove every aspect of what I saw. I couldn't. If my worldview was a computer operating system, it permanently crashed. I had to rebuild my paradigm. This was no easy task, as I had a lot invested. What you're about to see is the result of 5 years worth of reading of dozens of books, listening to hundreds of podcasts.
You can also see why, if you look at our society today, why it's so anti-Christian and anti the Bible. It's like you see that everywhere, that people are so anti the Bible. That why? And it's because the Bible's got a lot of things in it that they don't want you to read. The whole is a book used to control people. I mean, I don't know how you can say that when the second book is Exodus, where God frees the slaves. Um, but if you go through, yeah, it's not. It's definitely been used by people in power. Without a doubt, it's been used by people in power. Um, but if you read the book, it's devastating to the people in power. I mean, Jesus is himself devastating to authority.
and reading thousands of articles. This presentation has cost me at least $5,000, and I'm giving it away for free. Because I have invested as much time and concern on this project as others spend raising a child, I have occasionally been labeled obsessed. What these people don't realize is that I'm doing this for them. They don't want to see what I see, yet. I finally understand how someone like Adolf Hitler managed to fool the overwhelmingly Christian nation of Germany into believing that he was doing God's work. I now know that Adolf Hitler was a large part of an agenda that is so massive that it can't be fully described here. You had better care about this plan instead of sports or soap operas, because what happened to Germany during the Nazi era is happening to America and the West today. In a good 2 hours, you will learn the most important details of some aspects of what took me over 2 years to figure out. I don't know everything, but I know enough. Find out how to capture this presentation on your computer and make DVDs from it while we still have a free internet. Send me an email, especially if you decide to...
I don't know how long ago he made this, but the whole free internet thing, I mean, look what's happening in the UK. You have to provide your passport and everything to watch explicit videos, anything violent, anything, yeah. And also the digital ID to work.
Pick up the offer at the end.
Watch this presentation in a full-screen window at the highest resolution that your internet connection can handle.
Hold on,
Pause
what
it
was that one?
to read.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness. That literally, all right, it weren't Jesus' Ephesians, in Ephesians, but yeah, against that literally wickedness in high places.
Resolution that your internet connection can handle. Pause it to read the many quotations on the screen.
Some even believe we are part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States and of conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global political and economic. If that's the charge, I stand guilty and I'm proud of it, yeah. But it's falling apart right now as we speak. This whole together, integrated, global, it's literally, I mean, our country's about to go to war. Turns out people don't like the global thing.
Knowing the past, you can't know the present or the future.
Facts.
This is why so much of this presentation is a very intense history lesson that you may need to watch several times to fully understand. Please be patient with it and watch it to the end. It does get to a point, which is this.
There is hope for the future. Leonard Ulrich, March 2011.
2011. Yeah, the world's changed a lot in them. For we wrestle not, yeah.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order. Out of these troubled times, our fifth objective, a new world order, can emerge.
В своем движении в другом направлении, к новому мировому порядку,
I think
новой
even
цивилизации.
that does not describe why the world has changed so much and why the world has turned so much toward a new world order and a new kind of civilization.
Yeah, that's clever how he's named his thing after what woke him up. But yeah, the whole what did he say there? Hold on, because his name thing, that was good. Matthew 24.
civilization.
Oh yeah, the world changing so much is so true. Like our country, they keep trying to tell it. I mean, there's even a TV show with black Anglo-Saxons, because the Anglo-Saxons was black now, even though the word Anglo means white English person. But this whole thing of like the world has changed so much, where we're being told it's always been like this, but it hasn't. Like if you read the history, especially of our country, it's been the same demographic of people for over 1,000 years. Right? That's why rulers found it easy to rule England, because it was a homogenous peoples. When they started conquering other places, they found it's not so easy when everyone's divided.
After 1989, President Bush said, and it's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order, and instead it looks like we got a lot of disorder.
There is a chance for the President of the United States to use this disaster to carry out what his father, a phrase his father used, I think, only once, and hasn't been used since, and that is a new world order.
This was a stirring address, in my view, shorter than his father's speech when he announced the New World Order.
And it's only now that we can begin to understand that the world order that globalization brings and what it's going to look like, it's driven forward now not just by the balance of military strength, the Cold War times, or ordinary political power. It's being driven forward by a seismic shift in economic power that we see around us.
We've got to give them a stake in creating the kind of world order that I think all of us would like to see.
Thousands of people gathered to hear Barack Obama deliver key foreign policy speech on his current European tour. The Democratic presidential hopeful laid out his vision for America's place in a new world order, saying he was speaking as a proud citizen of the United States and a fellow citizen of the world.
Hold on, this is another thing you can say with the Bible prophecies and being true. There's nut jobs like these guys that are creating the conditions of the end times. I've seen other things that they're doing what the Bible says the end time is to hurry along the end times. It's not how the end times work. But also the collapsing of a system that's already in place around the West, or the systems around the West, complete collapsing of them is the only way you're going to bring in a new order, is by completely removing the old order. So yeah, you can see two reasons why people want to do it. One, for the biblical end times thing, hurrying it along, like the Jews wanting to pick a Jewish Messiah. That literally is the start of the end times when they do.
This film is about three big ideas. Most of the evil in this world is highly coordinated and is fulfilling biblical prophecy to the letter. Historical and current events are being influenced by evil to make the appearance of the Antichrist highly probable within a generation. Though the world is not yet in an apocalyptic state, the forces of organized evil affect us all now and must be resisted like never before. This film is unique in that it systematically studies the origins, activities, and destiny of evil. If you're a Christian, and even if you're not, you should keep watching in order to reduce the effects of evil. Presentations in this genre make all kinds of predictions about the future, most of which will turn out to be wrong. Instead of dwelling on the future, I'm going to survey the past. Once you know how we got here and then compare our present situation to what the Bible said would eventually happen, you might...
That's what David Icke says as well, because a lot of what David Icke said has come true. And people say, how did you know all this stuff? And he's like, well, because if you learn history, you see how things happen. And it's so true. If you watch, like, I love history, but you see that throughout history, how things unfold, so you can apply the same logic and see where you're going likely to end up. Not a complete 100% prediction, but you can make a probability bet on where we're going based on what's happened before.
Be interested in its solutions. If you think this is all fluff, then please consider the following question. If the Bible's explanation of evil is just a myth, then why are so many anti-Christians doing everything they can to fulfill that myth? Looks like we should study the New World Order. The New World Order is like a rope. That rope is made up of cords of political, military, economic, scientific, cultural, and religious power that has always been pulling the world to a definite conclusion away from God. Recently, that pull has been getting progressively stronger. Each cord of the New World Order rope is composed of people at the outer layers who have no idea what the ultimate goal of those at the center of each cord is. As people work their way to the center of each cord, the ultimate goal of those associated with the New World Order becomes clear. A one-world government, a one-world economy, a one-world military, a one-world society, and a one-world religion, all enforced with absolute control under a single world ruler. This goal is not democratic. In fact, most people will not want this goal to be pursued because it limits their freedom.
And again, applying what he's saying here all the way back then, you apply that to what's going on in the UK at the moment. What's going on in the UK in the moment isn't democratic, but they're saying, no, it's all great, it's all freedom, it's all love, it's all democracy. It's not democracy. No one's voted on anything. They're doing it whether you like it or not. And yeah, you see what he's saying. This is not democracy that we're watching, but it's been disguised as democracy.
In spite of popular resistance, this goal is being achieved through secrecy and progressive conditioning to make the public want this goal.
Not even that
There is
secret.
plenty of evidence that this goal exists.
Pat Robertson has written in a book a few years ago that we should have a world government, but only when the Messiah arrives. He wrote, and literally, any attempt to achieve world order before that time must be the work of the devil. Well, join me. I'm glad to sit here at the right hand of Satan.
The primary driver of the New World Order is religion. After all, people act on what they believe. Financial control is the means by which the New World Order funds its primary tool, which is warfare. We must first understand the tool of warfare before we can grasp the matrix of control being applied to us. Once we understand these systems of control, we can then understand the belief systems of those who are controlling us. All this knowledge is necessary to form strategies of resistance to what you are probably not even aware of. But how did this mindset, control system, and tool of warfare get created? All secret societies trace their origins back to the ancient mystery religions practiced in Sumeria, Egypt, and Babylon. These ancient mystery religions were responsible for keeping a closed population in total subservience to a small elite, which were worshipped as gods, or as intermediaries between the masses and the gods. Knowledge is power. If you know when the next solar eclipse is going to occur, and others around you don't, you can demand a lot from a primitive society when you threaten to darken the sky.
Facts.
People with secret knowledge of astronomy are going to try to keep that knowledge to themselves. The moment they share that knowledge, their power over any society is eliminated.
Large groups of people can be held in check by belief systems given to them by a tiny elite which keeps a core of knowledge to itself. This is why the most powerful groups in any society operate in secret. In fact, the word occult does not mean evil. It means secret. You are not supposed to know the secrets of the elite. Once you discover and verify these secrets, you'll be shocked at how the elite control you.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. Government at all levels must meet its obligation to provide you with the fullest possible information outside the narrowest limits of national security. And so it is to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance, confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.
Yeah, that is one crazy speech. Like, this is actually a great thing for me because I was well into the conspiracy thing, so I kind of have a knowledge of each thing, but then also, like, this was from a long time ago. Um, but already this guy seems like he really has, like, he's like really done his homework on it. Well, he said he has, but it does seem like that because yeah, this is because that's the thing. Once you get into the conspiracy thing, there's so many documentaries and so many things, and you end up watching ones and you just think this is nonsense. But yeah, this guy, and for as long ago as he done this documentary to where we are now, and seeing how it's all like, yeah, this guy was onto something.
While other cultures were practicing pantheism, the monotheism of the Israelites kept them unique. When the Israelites were true to their faith, they prospered. When they began to absorb the teachings and practices of the surrounding cultures, the Israelites became oppressed by the civilizations they had previously resisted. Those within Judaism who were tempted by the occult practices of the surrounding cultures became the vehicle by which secret society...
Moloch as well is, if you watch the ghost films, I think all of them, Paranormal Activity, Conjuring, definitely The Conjuring, I think, is yeah, Moloch.
has continued right up to today. Practitioners of the occult within Judaism codified their beliefs in a sub-religion which became known as Kabbalah. On the surface, Kabbalism appears to be Judaism. In reality, it is the exact opposite of Judaism.
Synagogue of
The
Satan.
Kabbalah offers an occult counter-explanation to the revelations of the Jewish prophets and the history of the Israelites. The Kabbalah depicts Moses as an occult figure whose purpose was to initiate the Israelites back into the more enlightened and advanced teachings of Egypt. We must grasp this if we are to understand much of what is happening in Israel today. We must also understand that the teachings of all secret societies flow through the Kabbalah.
A girlfriend of mine was going all the time and to these classes. They're classes. It's the Kabbalah Learning Center. And basically the Kabbalah is the mystical interpretation of the New Testament. And she kept telling me about this really charismatic rabbi named Eitan who told these great stories, and she kept going on and on about.
This is my trouble, like, with religious people, is the how many of you actually read the Bible and that? Like, that's what listening to the Bible now as having kind of a more atheist worldview. Like, how people enact how people act as religious people compared to what is actually in the Bible is very, very different. And I think that how many people actually do read. So I even saw Candace Owens says that you become Catholic if you read history. What about the Bible? Why are you reading history to decide your faith when you have the Bible? Why is it the Bible? That's what they say. Like, every other thing is Jesus plus. It's like not. But yeah, in the thing, I'm sure it's in Revelation, the synagogue of Satan, that they claim to be Jews, but they aren't.
And and I said, listen, Susan, I'm not even Jewish. Why are you telling me these things? And she's like, you don't have to be Jewish. Just come and take it, study. And if you like it, well, you like it. If you don't, leave. So I did.
Those of you who have not learned what some call the deep things of Satan, I know your works, but I have this against you. That you have abandoned the love you had. And the soul beast lies like the sea with 10 horns and 7 heads, and a blasphemous name upon its head. And the beast that I saw was like a leopard, its feet were like a bear's, and its mouth was like a lion's mouth, and to it the dragon gave his power. And the whole earth followed the beast with wonder, and they worshipped the beast, saying, who is like the beast, and who can fight against the beast? It opened its mouth to utter blasphemous words against God.
The emergence of Christianity during the height of the Roman era became a problem for the Romans. The more the Roman government tried to suppress Christianity, the more Christianity grew. Please remember that the next time somebody tries to tell you that religion is just a tool of control. Because the Roman government couldn't eliminate Christianity, it eventually decided to merge its belief system with it. The moral decline of the early church can be traced back to the time when Constantine decided to become a Christian for whatever reason. The beliefs of the Babylonians, Egyptians, Greeks, Eastern cultures, and Romans infiltrated much of Christianity as the Roman government merged with Christianity. At the heart of this infiltration was Gnosticism. Gnosticism means salvation through knowledge, while Christianity means salvation through Christ. Gnosticism has always been the primary driver of the...
Do you know, that's where my interest in the Bible started, was from the Gnostic Bibles. And the Bible and the books that aren't in the Bible. Until I actually saw a biblical scholar say there's a reason why they're not included. The book of Thomas, the Gospel of Thomas. It's like that's a known forgery. We have no earlier scriptures of it from like the 15th century, and it's a known forgery. Like there's details in it that don't make sense. Some guy's on Mount Sinai or whatever and walks to the River Jordan in a week. He's like, that's impossible. They're nowhere. Like, yeah, he's like, the details don't match up. Whereas in the other stories, they all do. Like the Gnostic things have been proven to be. It's like as well that they say about the virgin birth. That's another thing why when getting into conspiracies, that Jesus is the Immaculate Conception, and that they say that that's in numerous things, and it kind of is. But one of the ones they use is the Epic. It might not be the Epic of Gilgamesh, but something like that, where they say, yeah, he's virgin born. That's where Christianity got the virgin born thing. But apparently, it's virgin born technically, but the guy was born into a rock. It's not the same thing as. It's not the same thing at all. Like, yeah, they're the same in the fact that it's a conception without sex, but actually, if you got the details, is what make it completely different stories. But yeah, the Gnostic Bibles, I recommend Wes Huff if anyone wants to see. He was the one that knocked me off of the Gnostic side of things, where yeah, all of the Gnostic things have been. That's why they're not included. They're not included because there's some hidden information. They're not included because they are known forgeries, and there's no, like, even Codex Sinaiticus, I think it is. It's the earliest Bible from cover to cover, Genesis to Revelations, and I think it's from 200 AD, around that time. But all of the books of the Bible individually, because the Bible is like a library, it's a collection of books. It's not a book, it's a collection of books. You have every story of the Bible in different languages, from Latin, Greek, before the cover to cover Codex Sinaiticus was formed. So yeah, people say, well, the earliest Bible was 200 years after Jesus. It's like, yeah, that's true in terms of that's the first time the book was put together, but well, the library of books, the collection of books was put in order as Genesis to Revelations, but all of the books was around before that, before Jesus, just after Jesus, like, yeah.
Order.
And I'm learning about these too.
A military and religious order.
We'll stop there because I'm literally on. I'm learning about the Knights Templar now, and that's another thing as well. The Crusades, how the Crusades is painted to be anti-Christian, but if you actually look at the reason why the Crusades happened, it was because Islam was conquering everything, conquering the Holy Land. It's like the Palestinians, who people call up Palestinians. Most of them, if you do their genetics, are going to end up being Jewish, because the Jewish people were Palestinian people. Jesus is Palestinian. It's all that area. But yeah, the original Palestinian, most of the Muslims that are Palestinians, they're only Muslim now because they got conquered. Yeah, at one point, like, Jews was the predominant thing in Jerusalem, in all of the Holy Land, pretty much, at one point. And then, yeah, Muslims conquered it, and then that's where you got the Crusades. But if you look at the film of the Crusades, the Christians are all painted in a negative light, when actually it's the same as well. I don't think it was, like, Islam conquered all the way down to France. That was the reason for one of the Crusades as well, to push Islam back across Europe and then into the Middle East. But yeah, the Knights Templar, I'll literally listen to something on them right now, so we'll pause here, and we'll come back with them. Because yeah, these are crazy that they went from oaths of, they couldn't even kiss their mum or hug their mum or their sister or whatever, even though I wouldn't want to hug my sister or my mum. I was clam up. But still, they couldn't. You have to be completely away from women. they had to not have any money, but then ended up becoming incredibly wealthy because people was donating to them. But yeah, I'm literally listening to the Knights Templar right now. But yeah, we'll come back with that. Yeah, so far, like I say, I've watched a lot of conspiracy things, but this right now is perfect for me. The combination of the Bible and the conspiracy world. Because as I'm just independently listening to the Bible, I'm seeing where he's got this from, basically. Like I say, the book of Isaiah. I don't know if he's going to bring Isaiah up because it seems like this, yeah, he's kind of, yeah, he might not come across Isaiah, but I recommend reading Isaiah and you'll be like, Jesus, Isaiah predicted. But then again, is it that they predicted it, or is it that the people in power are acting it out to try and hurry along the end times? Even though I don't know why, because Jesus ain't going to be happy with none of them. They're all going to be bitch slapped about when Jesus comes back. When Jesus comes back, he ain't going to be playing. We got the friendly Jesus the first time. The Revelations Jesus comeback is yeah. He's kicking ass and taking names, as they say. But yeah, that's part one. Sweet.